With a steady stream of politicians from diverse backgrounds flocking into the ruling All Progressives Congress, there are emerging questions regarding how the party's leadership can manage to keep everyone happy and laser-focused towards delivering a successful outcome to the 2027 general election. How willing will the new members be to lend themselves to party discipline, given that the primary motive of defection is to seek openings for self-actualization? Now, will the old members be large-hearted enough to willingly concede such opportunities? Well, we are now being joined for a quick chat by Honorable Cletus Obun, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thanks for having me this afternoon.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, tell us how the influx of defectors from other political parties have altered the balance of reward and recognition within the APC. How are the old members reacting to this, especially those that might not be able to achieve their political ambition due to these newcomers?
Yes, that question is very important and germane now in the midst of the excitement that the influx has generated. It's good to have the numbers, but in a concurrent mixture of this nature, you are going to have mixed reactions as well. Experience has shown, as I speak to you, a founding member of the APC from the ACN stock, from the ACN bloc that formed the majority of what was then the merger of 2014-2013. I can tell you for free that legacy members, those we call legacy members, are those who came from AMPP, CPC, and the majority ACN. They are constantly being shifted to the backside in a game in which they ought to be participants. They have become spectators. In many situations, most of them have become obliterated and conjured into invisibility on account of the influx of new members. And this is the worry that is going to come. But like I have always maintained, none of them that I know in any state will leave the party. They will stay in here and do the best they can to maintain party integrity. But nobody is going to continue to wait. Age and want and need and the urge to serve will not permit some people to continue to sit on the sidelines for too long. Therefore, it is going to be a very, very turbulent period. Much as defections are good, much as they add number and value, other situations find other members, especially the legacy members, on the back foot and catching them, because the reward system, every person who has participated in making and baking the cake called APC today that is in government, almost every member, 90% of members, are constantly complaining about the poor reward system, and even the very art of recognition is a major problem. I speak, like I said, from experience. We have what we call the ACN Chairman's Forum. That forum is made up of all former state chairmen who started the AC to ACN and into the APC. Most of them can barely ever even pay their transport to Abuja. Most of them can barely ever survive. You had former commissioners, governorship candidates, when it was dangerous to even canvass for votes in South Nigeria, given that Jonathan was a presidential candidate coming from South. Given that even in Southern Nigeria, we were seen as traitors, Christians against Muslims. It was a major crisis in 2015. By 2019, it became fashionable to welcome new members and abandon old members. We don't want to see an implosion, because that is where we are heading to. If that situation is not addressed, then we are going to head into an implosion, because those members have no other place to go to. They are not going to go into a sinking ship, as Mr. President described, as Ashwaju described it, as a sinking ship. Nobody is going to go into a sinking ship after building a mansion like APC. So the dilemma for APC now is the total management, and that falls squarely within the purview of the sitting chairman, who has the onerous duty, according to Abacha, an onerous duty to take the mantle and ensure that there is a balance of power in which there's a balance of reward, so that people don't walk like elephants and come to feed like ants. There must be a balance in the reward system, such that members must have to now know that they are not working in vain, that their labor shall never be in vain. So I want to urge party leadership, the governors who are coming in, the ministers who have taken positions to look back and ask for the reward for those who have worked and to reward those and bring on board those who have value to add. Because most of those who are coming into APC are coming for survival, not to add value, while others who can add value have been sidelined. That balance must be struck in order for us to have a polity that is both balanced and also that is democratic enough and transparent enough, especially within the internal security and internal mechanisms of party politics in which reward and hard work are rewarded and at all times maintained. So the primaries, the congresses, the convention is going to determine that. Who is going to be the ward chairman? Who is going to be the chapter chairman, the local government chairman? Who is going to be the zonal executive? Who is going to be in the state executive? Who is going to be at the national working committee? That is very germane, and that will keep the party not on tenterhooks, but in a state of balance, because without opposition, democracy will definitely wither away. So it is also in the interest of Nigerians to be assured that with ADC and with PDP wobbling, ADC waxing strong, we should have a balance of power and that somebody should be accountable, and that is the APC must look over his shoulders to ensure that it doesn't tilt over, because all defections do not lead to electoral victories. All defections don't amount to electoral victories because most of those people have a pedigree. We have their past. Like Senator Adam Soshimole will always ask. You don't ask a man who has been in office what he can do because he already has a past that we can reference. And therefore, for me, those who are in power and those who are coming into power and those who are adjusting into APC through the roof, through the window, through the ceiling, and all kinds of places to join APC for joining's sake should know that there is a tradition of progressivism. Progressivism defines what APC is, and those who have founded it and the founding fathers who are still alive and strong will not be happy to watch us wobble away with defectors.
Okay, this is very key allow me to interrupt and talk more about these systems, traditions that are within the APC for senior members. For any new entrant who defects just before election, obviously their primary motivations in most cases are often immediate political reference and relevance with the APC. Now, do the APC have some kind of clear, cut-out communication policy on the seniority or the priority given to the claims of those who've been in the APC for 10 years plus over those who have defected and have only been in the party for 1 year in terms of highly sought-after posts and who is more senior in getting those posts?
Now, in the tradition of APC, without sacrificing quality over time, that is to say that without sacrificing the value you can add over the issue of being in the party for being sake, what APC propounds is that in the executive cadre, example, governors and chairmen of local government, the right of first refusal goes to the incumbent. In the case of parliament, state houses of assembly, House of Representatives, and Senate, it is open and reliant upon performance. The reason is simple. The chief executive has a right of first refusal as a tradition in all democracies, while parliament is a very, very fluid and indeed mercurial surface in which those who cannot meet up the standard, because it is about not just showmanship, but capacity to deliver. Parliament is where resilience, where brilliance, where intellectual urbanity is tested, and in which the best quality of a party is showcased. So if you now are not performing and can't live up to that, it's not enough to go and buy motorcycles for people, or buy wheelbarrows for people, or buy rice at Christmas. It is what you are going to be doing on the floor of parliament, either as a state parliamentarian or a National Assembly member. That is the basis for which it is gone. Therefore, like I said, yes, there is a tradition. All executives, especially governors and presidential candidates, have automatic tickets unless the right of first refusal, unless there are cases, exceptional cases, in which the governor performs so badly that he is no longer marketable and would rather become a devaluation of the party values and ethos and then devalue its quality in electoral terms. But in the case of parliamentarians, it is a fluid system in which your performance is what is going to determine your return or your exit. That is where we are in APC. But let me say this. In the case of what has happened now, the issue of patronage by governors is what must stop. That is to say, that rather look out for quality of who should represent.
Allow me to interrupt you. You know, just as we wrap up, I'm wondering, you know, if there are signs that party loyalty is becoming less valuable in the APC than political advantage. Is that what is happening at this moment? And how do we ratify that if that's the case?
I can tell. In fact, you captured it well. In most circumstances, party loyalty is being taken for granted. And that is the danger I am warning about, that it will lead to implosion. Because it is irresponsible for any man to marry a new wife and throw away the old one simply because he has gotten just married. So it is in the interest of APC not to overlook those who have sat down and baked this cake. It is in the interest of the party not to allow this implosion to take place. So I agree with you, that question is very apt, that party loyalty has not been sufficiently rewarded, and that has to be cured, and it is curable. And I know that Asiwaju, as president, has demonstrated that in the past, and he will not allow this to happen in the states and at the national level.
Well, Cletus, Obun, APC chieftain, it was good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us.